We're going to get moving right away today, so let's go ahead and start in downward facing dog. First, come to top of a push-up, fingers spread wide apart, index fingers pointing toward the top of the mat. Hold a nice steady plank here for just a moment. Spread your collarbones wide, drop the chin down to lengthen the back of your neck. Inhale. And then exhale, just lift the hips, drop the heels, maybe step the feet in a half an inch or so. The heels do not have to touch. And let's go ahead and take our feet wider than normal, so about as wide as your mat. Check back in with your hands. Make sure you are rooting down through each and every knuckle. And then press your chest back toward your thighs. And let's bend the knees a bit. And just take a moment there, hanging the head. Feel free to cycle out the feet by pressing that right heel down, bending the left knee, and then doing the other side. Just letting your head hang. And breathing, maybe just noticing your breath for the very first time today, in through the nose, and maybe a few exhalations through the mouth to release any tension in the body and in the mind. And then go ahead and press the hips up and back, come down to the knees, take the knees wide, bring your toes together, sit the hips back on your heels, and just come into child's pose for a moment. You can come into child's pose anytime class gets to be too much for you. So take this rest pose whenever you need it, whenever you get tired. Take another breath here. Feel your lungs expanding on the inhalation and contracting on the exhalation. Let your next inhale bring you up to a tabletop position. And then step the legs back, top of a push-up. Inhale, and then exhale, downward facing dog. You can choose to keep your feet wide like we just had them, or you can bring them about hip distance apart and legs straight, but feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, come up on your toes, bend your knees, look up between your hands, and walk all the way to the top of your mat, hanging here in a forward fold. Again, if your hamstrings or if your low back feels tight here, you can bend your knees as much as you need to. Chin in toward the chest to keep the back of your neck long. And just start to feel the back of your body opening up. You can bend the knees and then straighten them a few times. Good. Reach back, interlace your fingers. Lift your hands up toward the sky. And just take them up and overhead, or in that direction. And bend your right knee and twist open to the left. Drop your hands over to the right, maybe looking up. Really pull that left shoulder open, but remember to be gentle with yourself. We're not too warm yet. So inhale, come back to center. And then go ahead and bend the left knee, opening the chest out to the right, pulling your right shoulder back. And then coming back to center, bring the hands down to the sacrum and let them fall down in front of you. Place your hands on your shins. Inhale, lengthen your heart, inner thighs back, groins back, shoulder blades slide down your back. And then exhale, folding. Place your hands down beside your feet. Step one leg back and then the other leg back. Back to your push-up. Inhale. And then exhale. Just lifting the hips, dropping the heels. Let your heels get really heavy and press down through the arms, getting long through the arm bones, through the leg bones. Let your head hang. Inhale. And then exhale it out through your mouth. Let's do that one more time. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale through your mouth. Good. And then inhale, lift your right leg, just hip height. Take a breath there. Really reaching out through that right heel, still pressing into your hands. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, we're going to bring it through for pigeon. Just a brief pigeon, so we're not going too deep into it. Back leg is nice and straight, hip, knee, and ankle in line. That right knee is right behind the right wrist. And just bring the hands back beside the hips. Inhale, lift your heart, hug your legs together, feel yourself lift up a bit. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears, maybe get a little back bend. And And then on an exhale, walk the hands forward, coming down onto the forearms. And drop your chin. And just take 3 nice, long, slow cycles of breath here. Feeling free to exhale through your mouth still. Sometimes the hips get a little bit of tightness or a lot of bit of tightness, and it helps to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good, and let the next inhale start to lift you back up. Place your hands down, fingers spread wide, shoulder width apart, tuck the back toes, lift that knee, step it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg and just hold it there. You're still dropping down through that right heel, still pressing strongly into the hands. And just take another breath. Inhale, reaching out through the left heel. And then exhale, pigeon on the other side. So the left knee behind the left elbow, left heel in toward the groins as much as you need to. The closer it is to the groins, the easier it's going to be for you. The more flexibility you have, the more parallel your shin will be with the mat, with the top of the mat. But just make sure you can keep the hips squared off. And bring the hands back beside the hips. Start to drop your shoulders away from your ears. Press down into the fingertips. Inhale, lift your heart, hug your legs together. Maybe take that back bend, maybe not. It's up to you. This is your practice. And then walking the hands out in front of you, coming down onto the forearms. But if you're up here, this is okay too. We're still really early in the class, so that's why we're not going to be here too long. One more full cycle of breath here. Place the hands down, shoulder distance apart, tuck the back toes, lift that knee up, step it on back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg. And then on an exhale, we're going to step that right foot to the outside of the right hand, drop your left knee down, top of the foot flat. And just take a moment here, sinking the hips and breathing. Feel free to stay right here, or maybe coming down to the forearms, or even just one forearm, the left forearm. Keep hugging that right knee in and sinking down through the hips. Softening at the hinge of your jaw, relax your face, and take another breath. Start to make your way back up, plant the hands down, tuck the back toes, lift that leg up, step it on back, downward facing dog, press into your hands, get really long through the arms and through the legs. And then inhale, lift your left leg, and then exhale, step it to the outside of that left hand, drop your right knee down, top of the foot flat, that back leg, that back foot. And just take a few breaths here, just noticing how good it feels to get your body moving, to get into the hips, start stretching out the front of that right leg. And then if you have the space and you're able, maybe coming down to the forearms or just one forearm, that right forearm. And another breath here. Start to press back into your hands, separating the hands, shoulder distance, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, step it back, top of a push-up, inhale there, and then exhale, we're going to lower down knees, chest and chin, keep the elbows in, keep the shoulders away from the ears, and then inhale, slide into cobra, dropping the hips, dropping the thighs, press down to the tops of the feet, shoulders down away from the ears, and just lifting up a little bit here. Making sure to not hold your breath. And on an exhale, tuck the toes, engage your core, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg. And then exhale, step it in between the hands this time, and drop the left knee down, top of the foot flat. And just sinking the hips down here. Hands flat or up on the fingertips. Just taking it easy this first low lunge. Stretching out the front of your left leg, sinking down into that right hip. Plant the hands, tuck the back toes, step it on back, push up. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale to cobra for one breath. Maybe lifting a little bit higher. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg. And then exhale, step it all the way through. Drop your right knee down, top of the foot flat. You just want to make sure ankle and knee are in line whenever we're in a lunge position, that front leg. Shoulders drop away from the ears, maybe a little lift in the chest this time, sinking the hips. Relax your face. And take one more breath right here. And exhale it out. Hands come down. Step it on back, top of a push-up. Inhale. You can either lower knees, chest, and chin, or if you feel ready, low plank and cobra or upward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths, whether you're in cobra or upward dog. If you're in up dog, tops of the feet are flat, knees are lifted, hips are lifted, pressing down through the hands, and shoulder blades slide down your back. Lift your heart. And then exhaling up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come up on your toes, bend your knees, look up between your hands, and hop or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward, and then exhale, fold. Just taking a few breaths here. Feel free to reach back and interlace your fingers, lifting the knuckles up toward the sky, toward the sun. Drop your chin toward your chest, back of the neck long, crown of your head toward the floor. And bring the hands back down toward the low back and then down to the floor if you've taken that variation. And then start to sit the hips and then reach the arms up beside the ears for chair pose. Drop the hips, lift your heart, draw the tailbone in just a little bit as you pull your arm bones back beside the ears. And just breathe, take another inhale and exhale it out. Sinking the hips a little more, rocking the shins back. Inhale, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up and lengthen. And exhale, fold. Hands come down, step it back one leg at a time. Inhale, and then exhale, lower all the way down. Locust, bring your forehead down. Palms face in toward the thighs, toward the hips. Tops of the feet flat, bring the toes and heels, legs all the way together. And then inhale, lift the head up, lift the heart up, and then lift the legs up. You're strengthening the entire body here as you lift up a little higher. And don't forget to breathe. One more inhale. And the exhale will bring you down. Inhale. Come up on the fingertips, shoulders away from the ears, press up, cobra. And bring it on down, exhale. Hands flat, tuck the back toes, and up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg, and then exhale, step that right foot through in between the hands. Left knee comes down, and then the left hand comes down on the inside of that right foot. Inhale, reach up through the right hand, pull the right shoulder back, look up. Sinking the hips toward the front of your mat. And then if you'd like to stretch the front of that left leg, bending the left knee, reach back for the top of the foot with the right hand. Maybe move your left hand out a bit, and then really open it up. This just feels too good. I don't want to move on to the next thing. So take another breath here. Good. And release that foot, reach it back up. And then bring that right hand down, left hand down, tuck the back toes, top of a push-up, inhale, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg, and then exhale, step it all the way through. Right knee comes down, top of the foot flat. Take that right hand on the inside of your left foot. Let's go ahead and reach it on up with the left hand. If it was just too much there the last time, you can take your left hand onto your left thigh and start twisting that way. Otherwise, you can reach that arm up and look up toward your thumb. And if you did it on the other side, bend that right knee, reach back for the opposite hand, sink the hips, maybe move that right hand back and out to the side a bit, and really open up the chest here. Press down into the right hand so you're not collapsing into the shoulder. So you stay nice and long and spacious. Take another breath. And gently release, reach it back up. And bring that left hand down, downward facing dog. And either stay here, come into child's pose, or take a vinyasa with me. If you're taking the vinyasa, inhale to a push-up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing. And then inhale, lift your right leg, maybe a little higher this time, dropping the right shoulder down. And then exhale, bring it all the way through. We're coming into warrior two. So spin the back heel down, heel to arch. Reach with the left hand toward the top of your mat and press down through the feet as you spiral on up to our first warrior. Nice and strong here. So sinking deeply into that front knee, press that knee open, arms reach out. If your arms get tired, you can just have them on your hips or prayer pose. And looking out over the right fingertips. So you're sinking deeply, pressing through that back foot. Let's go ahead and reach around our back with the left hand and flip the right palm up and reach it up and back. Still sinking into that front hip. And coming back, warrior two. And then taking that reverse warrior without the bind, reaching it up and back, dropping into that front leg. Good. Coming back, warrior two. Press that front leg straight. We're going to come into triangle pose. I like to heel toe my back foot in one time, just to bring my legs a little closer. If you notice your knee is rolling in, press down through the big toe ball joint with a little bend in the knee. Press the knee open, and then re-straighten that leg so the knee stays straight. Keep the legs strong. Reach toward the top of your mat with the right hand. Drop that right hand down. Ankle, shin, floor, or to a block if you have one. Pulling the left hip back, right hip forward. Keep your chest open. And then let that left hand lead you as you come up. Flip the right palm, reverse your triangle. Really stretching the right side of your body. Creating space between the ribs. And warrior two. And bring the hands on down. Spin up on the ball of the back foot. And just stay right here in a high lunge. Wiggle the left toes back. And then start to press down through your feet. Press on up into a high lunge with the arms up and overhead. And we're going to drop the right hand down to the nape of the neck. And you can either take the left hand to the left elbow or to the right elbow, or you can reach around trying to catch your fingertips behind you. You can use a tie, a belt, a scarf, if you can't quite reach and you want to take this variation. So bend the back knee a little bit, draw the tailbone in, sink that front shin toward the top of your mat, And then re-extend that leg here. Lift the hip points, lift your heart, and take another inhale. And exhale it out. Good. And inhale, reach the arms up. Hands come down. Step it back. Downward facing dog. We're going to take 3 cycles of breath right here. Feel free to take child's pose. Two more cycles of breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. If you're in child's pose, you can come back into downward facing dog. And once you get there, inhale, lift your left leg, maybe a little higher this time. Be sure to drop that left shoulder down though. And then on an exhale, step it all the way through. We are going to spin the back heel down, line it up, heel to instep. Once you feel ready, press down into your feet, reach out through the right hand, and come on up. Warrior 2 on the other side. Just taking a moment to settle in. Sinking down into that left leg, shin toward the front of the mat, pressing down through the outer edge of the back foot. Let's take that bind, wrap the right arm around the low back, maybe catching the thigh or just the waist. And then flip that left palm and reach it up and back. Finding a little space in the left side of your body. Drop your right shoulder down. And back into Warrior 2. Keep pressing that knee open. And let's reverse it again with the arms out long. Not much weight is on that back leg. None at all, really. And come back. Warrior 2. Let's go ahead and straighten out that front leg, which is the left leg now. Check in with that knee. If it's rolling in a little bit, press down through the big toe ball joint. And I'm going to heel toe my back foot in once. Press down through the big toe ball joint. Press that knee open. And then re-extend that leg. That's going to keep your knee nice and safe here. So reach your arms out. Start reaching with that left hand until the right hip comes up a little bit. And then drop that hand down. Reach it up through the right hand. Rolling the right hip open. Left hip moves forward, keeping your chest open. If your neck is tired, you can look off to the side or down. Take another inhale. Exhale it out. And then press down into that left foot. Maybe bend the knee a tiny bit. Let the right arm lead you as you come up. Flip your left palm and reverse your triangle. Take another breath, really creating space between the ribs. And coming back, Warrior 2. I'm going to take that left hand and bring it to the nape of the neck, and either take the right hand to the elbow or reach back and try to interlace the fingers, or just grab a hold of the fingers, or use a strap or a tie or a belt. Still sinking the hips, still pressing the left knee open and pressing down through the outer edge of the right foot. And just breathe deeply here. It's pretty normal to have one shoulder that's not as open as the other. This is it for me. So just breathe mindfully and be gentle with yourself. One more inhale and exhale here. And then cartwheel the hands down, spin up on the ball of the back foot. Find that high lunge. And just take a moment here, starting to feel your feet. And then when you feel ready, inhale, come on up. Wiggle the right toes back a bit. Bend that knee, draw the tailbone in, sink the hips. And this time, if you can, reach back. See if you can bring the palms together behind you. Lifting the hip points and sinking the hips a little further. Inhale, lift your heart. And And exhale, we're gonna bring it on back down. Step it back, downward facing dog. And let's all take child's pose. Knees wide, toes together, press back. And come up on your fingertips. We'll keep the arms active for now. Breathing deeply here. Inhaling, filling up the space at the back of the heart, the back of the lungs. And one more cycle of breath here. Slowly start to walk the hands up. And let's come to sitting on the heels here. And we're going to take the hands back behind us, fingertips pointing away or toward the heels. I prefer mine pointing toward the hips, toward the heels. And we're just going to lift the knees, stretching the front of the ankles. Soften your shoulders. And one more breath here. Good. Coming back to sitting on the heels. We're going to drop the hips to the right and bring that left leg up and over. Feel free to lengthen out that right leg if you can't get both sit bones down with that heel tucked in. We're going to bring the left hand behind us, reach up through the right hand, find that space in your body, create the length. And then on your exhale, we're going to take the right elbow on the outside of the left knee and just start winding around, twisting open to the left. You don't have to turn your chin quite yet. You can keep your chin over the center of your chest. Inhale will help you to create that space and lengthen your body. And the exhale, pressing the elbow into the knee even more, and then pulling the left shoulder back, twisting open more. And feel free to start to bring the chin toward the left shoulder. Good. And then slowly unwinding, counter stretch in the opposite direction. That should feel pretty good. Pulling the right shoulder open. Coming back up onto the knees, sitting on the heels, and then dropping the hips to the left. Bring that right leg up and over. And again, if you can't get both sit bones rooted down, extend that bottom leg. We're going to take the right hand behind us. Inhale, really reaching up nice and tall, getting long through the left side of your body. And then exhale, elbow to the knee, pull the right shoulder open, and take a few mindful breaths here. Relax your eyes, relax at the back of your jaw. Pulling the right shoulder open a little more, pressing into the knee, and maybe even starting to turn the chin toward that right shoulder, opening up to the right. And slowly coming back to center, and then that counter stretch, pulling the left shoulder open, and releasing. Coming over into a seated position, you can pull your seat back a little bit, lengthening through the hamstrings, legs together, heels and toes touch. Inhale, reach your arms. If you are rounding in the low back, if you look a little bit like this, you can place something right underneath the tailbone, a pillow, a blanket, whatever you have close by to help give your body a little bit of a lift and tilt the pelvis forward slightly. Inhale, reach your arms. And then exhale, hinging at the hips, folding it forward, letting the hands drop down wherever they are, whether it's the feet, the ankles, the shins, the knees, or just keep them beside the legs. Let the inhale help you find that space and length, and the exhale will bring you down a little closer. I'm just doing that a few times, being very, very mindful of your breath. Inhale and exhale. And one more breath like that. And then a few quiet breaths, dropping your chin down toward your chest, back of the neck long. Just allowing the pose to do the work for you, letting your central nervous system start to calm back down. We're stretching the entire back side of the body here, all the way from the back of the ankles, all the way up to the calf muscles, the hamstrings, the hips, all the way up the spine, and even in the neck. One more breath here. Exhale it out. And then inhale, reach out past your toes, reach up. Exhaling, bringing the hands down, hands point toward the hips. Start to point your toes. Keep the legs together, keep the feet together. Lift the hips, press the feet down, and then drop the head back if that feels okay on your neck. Otherwise, you can keep the head up, but keep pressing the hips. If that's too much, just bend the knees, feet flat, reverse tabletop. Whatever you have the energy for at this very moment in time. One more inhale to lift the hips a little higher. And the exhale to bring it back on down. Come onto your back. Roll yourself on down. Just take a moment here. Bring the feet wide, let the knees knock in toward one another, and bring the arms up and overhead. Find opposite elbow. And take a few cycles of breath. Maybe even closing your eyes for a moment. Go ahead and bring your arms down alongside of you. Bring the feet closer, so they're about hip distance apart, feet flat. And just start to root down through all four corners of the feet. Big toe ball joint, inner heel, little toe ball joint, outer heel. Arms down alongside of you. Back of the neck stays long, so chin in toward the chest. Start to press down through the feet to lift the hips, lifting the back. And start to work the arms and the shoulders underneath you. You can keep reaching for the heels, you can interlace the hands underneath you. Press down into the feet. This is bridge pose. And again, tendency is to roll to the outer edge, the pinky toe side of the feet. So just make sure you're pressing down evenly through all four corners of your feet. Inhale and exhale. And then one more breath. Inhale and exhale. We're just going to come on down for a moment. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open up. Hands on the belly, up overhead, wherever feels good. You can even have one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Just noticing the breath moving through your body. Good. Now bring the knees back up toward the sky. Plant the feet. Again, hip distance apart. Same setup, except this time you have a choice to come into wheel. If you want to come right back into bridge, and just go right back into bridge pose where we just were. If you want to come into wheel, you're just going to bring the hands underneath your shoulders, fingertips pointing toward your hips. I like to come up on my head just for a moment, just so I can realign my feet and press down firmly through my hands. And then I press on up. You feel free to stay on the top of your head. You just want most of the weight in the hands and in the feet. You don't want to compromise the neck. So if you're in full wheel, just let the head hang. Press into the feet, into the hands, and press your chest, press your heart behind you toward the top of your mat. If you're here and you're okay and you want to take a variation, you can even do this in bridge. Inhale, lift your right leg, point your toes, whoops. And bring it on down. And then inhale, lift your left leg, And bring it on down. You can do that again if you want to, or you can just find a place to stay and take another breath. And when you're ready, lowering out of bridge or lowering out of wheel. And happy baby, soles of the feet up toward the sky. Pull your knees down. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. And take a few cycles of breath right here. Good. Let's take the right leg and cross it right over the left so your knees are stacked. And then slide the hands down, the shins to the ankles or the tops of the feet. And just pull the legs in toward you and then kick the feet up toward the ceiling, toward the sky, so the shins become more parallel with the floor. You can rock a little bit here, or you can just hold it still. You may even be down here, that's okay. Wherever feels best for you. And release. Just switching out the legs. Crossing the left leg over the right. Slide your hands down your shins to the ankles or the tops of the feet. Pull the feet toward you and then start to lift the feet and the shins. And close your eyes if you wish, just to help keep your awareness inward. And releasing up and out of it. Rock up to seated. And we're just going to take the right leg in front of the left. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, folding forward. Just reaching the hands, maybe a little rock from side to side. Coming back up. Left foot in front this time. Inhale, reach your arms. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Sit the hips back as you reach the hands out in front of you. And inhale, come on up. Bring your palms together in front of your heart and just take a moment bowing to yourself for just taking this time out of your day to do something that feels really good for yourself. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a great day. Namaste.